our countries in the Caribbean, particularly the island states, are coastal states. So you find that a high percentage of our infrastructure, roads, ports, airports, are located in the coastal zone, as are many housing developments. So there are persons who live in the coastal zone and work in the coastal zone. Now, these persons are exposed to coastal hazards, including tsunamis. An informed population is really your best weapon in managing any hazard. So with tsunamis, for example, one of the reasons our populations would be so vulnerable to an event is that we don't have an experience, we don't have a recent experience of a tsunami impacting the region. In the face of that lack of experience, it is knowledge of the hazard, how to protect yourself from the hazard, and how to reduce the impact of the hazard that is going to make the difference in saving lives and reducing damage. So from that perspective, it is important that all the residents of the region, including Jamaica, should be informed on the tsunami hazard. And let me just say that you can't really divorce that from earthquakes, because of course an earthquake or a landslide, a major landslide, could be the triggering mechanism. So you want to point out the importance of knowledge of earthquakes and tsunamis as one of the possible effects of earthquakes. An earthquake triggering a tsunami could happen at any time. So what I would say is that one really needs a multi-pronged approach. So you would try to target all levels. Now, we know that children are very good messengers. So certainly you would want a public awareness campaign in schools. But of course, the adults are out there being exposed as well. So you would have to have general public awareness programs, and this is where the media, for example, is very useful in transmitting messages. But also you would want to target specific coastal communities which are at risk. And for those coastal communities now, you need a bit more than just information. You really want them to develop plans as to how to manage the hazards. And that would include not only what to do if a tsunami is imminent, but also where one should site one's house, for example. Because you would really want them to observe adequate setback limits if they're now going to build a house or a business or whatever, in addition to them knowing the signs of a tsunami and what to do if a tsunami should happen. From our perspective at the university, what can really make the difference in the long term is disaster risk reduction. So you do not keep adding assets in an exposed zone, because of course that's going to cause you problems in the future. So you really have to look at addressing the immediacy of the problem. It could happen at any time, but also the future of development in the country. Let us ensure that we are not exposing new development to the hazard. Absolutely. Disaster risk reduction measures can be either physical or they can be procedural, you would say. So we have our acts, we have our building codes, we have land use and zoning laws, we have regulations which govern setbacks and so on. All of these would be applied to reduce the risk. Now, unfortunately, it is the case in Jamaica and in other countries in the Caribbean that we don't enforce some of these laws. Hence, we see populations at risk in zones which they, in fact, are occupying illegally, but we do not do anything about it. So, one of the things we must learn to do is to enforce our laws and our regulations.